is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we are talking about the New York Giants training camp. First time breaking them down this offseason in the training camp. It has started, obviously, but this time they got the pads on, and when they get the pads on, they mean business, and the Giants are right back in it fully. They've had, of course, a ton of practices so far, but I figured I'd start breaking training camp when they got the pads on fully. And today, a really solid day for the New York Giants. A lot of fun plays, a lot of fun action, offensive line taking on the defensive line, all of that good stuff. A lot to talk about in this episode. But before I get into that, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are at 300 subs. We gotta get that up. We gotta get that up. We gotta get to 400 subs now. So on the road to 400 subscribers. But of course, I appreciate all the love you guys have been giving me recently. It motivates me to make these type of episodes. But the Giants get the pads on, and I have to say, and I know, I'm not trying to be that delusional Giants creator, like, hey, vibes are super high, they're going to all of a sudden shock the world and win 10 games. No. But I can't say I don't love the vibes heading into this season. I mean, there's a ton of players that we're going to talk about. Of course, leading the pack is the rookies with Abdul, Cam Skattebo, a bunch of guys like that. I've even liked how I've seen Thomas Fredoni, the tight end. I think he's going to get some love in this training camp. Had a nice one-handed catch earlier in training camp. But we're going to start off with talking about the quarterbacks. I know we're going to get back into the young route and talk about Skattebo and all of those guys. But I got to talk about Russell Wilson to start off this training camp. And he's looked good. I mean, at the age he is, I'm not going to say he's going to give you an outstanding season, but it's good to get quarterback play and not be a Daniel Jones or a Drew Lock or all of that. You're going to get better quarterback play this year, and that has been one of the factors of why the Giants have been held back so much in these past seasons, is when you put out bad quarterback play, it's hard to build an offense. It's hard to generate any explosive plays. And that's the thing, is that Brian Daboll wants explosiveness in this offense. He's been trying to do that since he's got here. When they had, better players, yeah, they were more explosive. Obviously, I'm mentioning Saquon Barkley, but he's long gone. But now you have Malik Neighbors, and he had a great rookie season, and he's trying to improve this season even more. And we know with better quarterback play, we could potentially see a 1,400-yard season out of Malik Neighbors. I think it's very doable with the target share that he gets around the offense. It runs through Malik Neighbors, and it's going to end through Malik Neighbors, in my opinion. I mean, he's your biggest threat. Any good offense has a wide receiver one, a true wide receiver one, and the Giants have that with Malik Neighbors. He has been awesome in training camp, but we're going to get back to Russell Wilson right now. And, the big thing is the connection with Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors. It's been very fun to watch. And when the ball is placed perfectly in the arms of Malik Neighbors, Wanda Robinson, Darius Slayton, who had a one-handed catch from a great throw from Russell Wilson, it excites you. It excites you when you get great or just good enough, fun to watch quarterback play. And now listen, I get it. Training camp is training camp. I'm not trying to overreact whatsoever of how, yeah, he looks good in training camp. Is it going to, translate to the regular season? Who knows? But I do like the vibes of Russell Wilson. It's the best quarterback you've had in quite some time. And he's been connecting on his deep ball very well. He still has a great deep ball, one of the better ones in the NFL. And when you get that, it's great. I mean, it is great to see for this Giants offense. Now, still, a lot of things have to be better, and that's with any quarterback. Whether it's getting the throws off quicker, avoiding sacks, because Russell Wilson does take up sacks, and we know this offensive line has not been a particularly good unit, but regardless, I have liked what I've seen out of Russell Wilson. The throws, the zip on his ball, it's fun to watch. And when you are able to create explosive plays of 30-plus yards, 25-plus yards, it's good, because the 5-yard, 8-yard checkdowns are not going to cut it. You need a quarterback that's going to be able to win you a football game win you a drive, win you a quarter, etc. But the Slayton one-handed catch, I believe that was yesterday or earlier today, was fantastic. When have we ever seen a Darius Slayton one-handed catch? When have we? It feels like Darius Slayton and the entire wide receiver room has, of course, benefited from Russell Wilson's his throws. Sorry about that. And when you get a quarterback that plays well, it just builds up the morale. It gives more confidence in Mike Kafka and Brian Dable, and I've liked what I've seen out of Russell Wilson. But, just one last thing to touch on Russell Wilson. He is your week 1 starter. I don't know why I've seen some reports or something earlier that I've only caught on to now that they're asking who the starter is going to be. Brian Dable has said multiple times that Russell Wilson is going to be the starter. But just wanted to throw that out. Wide receiver room, let's get into the wide receivers. And, they have been a talking point this offseason with, of course, with Rondo Robinson and Leak and, Slay, all those guys, Jalen Hyatt. Of course, Bryce Ford Wheaton went down with a torn Achilles, so prayers up for him. And, hopefully he gets well soon. It's a tough blow to special teams. And I liked him. I thought he made some good catches in camp. So tough to see him go down. Rondo Robinson's hurt. Just banged up, though. Nothing like too severe. I think it was when Brian Burns and them two collided. And that's obviously tough because you don't want injuries. You don't want injuries piling up on this Giants team. Jalen Hyatt. I mean, what are we going to really see out of him in camp? Is he really the wide receiver 4? Is it going to be somebody else? He is a guy that I have been looking at more like from Twitter. I haven't gotten to camp. I would love to take a trip to Giants training camp one year and bring you guys content there, but I don't think that's happening this year. Scheduling, everything like that. Unable to attend a Giants training camp. But I think down the road, as we build this account more, I think we're going to get to a Giants training camp and bring you some content there. I think that's going to happen in the future. At least that's what I want for this channel. But getting back to Jalen Hyatt, right? The big question is, what are they going to get out of him? He's your wide receiver 4, realistically. He doesn't get much training. He doesn't get much playing time because of just how they run their sets. And, you're not going to run a 4-man, every single play, right? You can maybe test him out in the slot, or you got to be a little bit more creative with Jalen Hyatt than just tell him to run a streak route and hope, the quarterback sees him down the field and he beats his matchup. More often than not, that's going to be a 50-50 ball, and the last thing we need is just chucking the ball up and hoping and praying that Jalen Hyatt picks that ball. But, getting back to Malik Neighbors, we talked about him a little bit briefly. The biggest thing I want to see is yards after catch. I want to see more explosiveness out of Malik Neighbors, and I think we're going to get that this year. I truly believe that. Balls, I don't think are going to be thrown behind him very much or like completely over his head where he has to make some crazy catch. So I don't think that. I think a lot more throws are going to be just better. And I mean, even the wide receiver core has mentioned it. The throws that Russell Wilson gives, they're right on the money. And they're in stride too. It's like they're not going to have to come back to the ball very much, which is very good. But I think Brian Dable and this team would like to see more LSU type out of Malik Neighbors. But regardless, I've been very, very happy with what I've seen. He's beaten his matchups. He's beaten up any cornerback that decides to line up against number 1. And, also, happy birthday to Malik Neighbors. As I'm recording this, today is his birthday, and obviously that's awesome. Happy birthday to Malik Neighbors. And my wish is that you stay a Giant for the rest of your career. But that being said, let's get to this running back room. And this is where I wanted to spend a decent amount of time on because I think this running back room is super fun. Did I expect them to go after Cam Skattebo in the draft? Honestly, no. I said in some mock drafts that maybe they target a running back and they start building up like a RB1, RB2, like what we've seen in Detroit and many other teams who have 2 very solid running backs. But I think that's what the Giants are building. And I mean, you gotta love it. Tyron Tracy, I feel like he hasn't been talked about much in training camp because all the talk has been Cam Skattebo with all the crazy catches he's made and all the explosiveness that Cam Skattebo has added to the running back room. He exploded for, I believe, a 30-plus yard running play today, and Tracy did as well. Maybe not been 30 yards, but the element that Cam Skattebo brings is another weapon for not only Russ, but Dart down the line, and Winston if he gets any playing time this year. But I am very, very excited for these two to destroy, the running back, destroy the running back game, the running game. Let's say it as that. Running game, I think, is going to be very good as long as these two guys are healthy. Right now, I do view it as a 1A, 1B. I have Tracy still as my 1A and Cam Skattebo as my 1B. I talked to some Giants fans. They think Cam Skattebo is going to get more snaps than Tracy. That could be a scenario, but I think, in my opinion, assuming they're 1A, 1B, I think it's really who's riding the rock a little bit better. Like in week 1, if Cam Skattebo, his first, 3 or 4 rushes are 10 plus yards, and he's got 40 or 50 rushing yards on the day, I think they're going to give him the ball more than maybe Tracy. But regardless, I think Cam Skattebo is your lock for your third down back alone. I think Cam is going to be very good in the passing game as well. He's already caught a ton of passes from Dart, Winston, all of those guys, Russ as well. So I'm very excited to see what these two have to offer. And I mean, with Devin Singletary, I don't really expect much. Honestly, he's probably more of just that quote-unquote veteran presence that you see him float around. I don't expect much from Devin Singletary. Maybe you see Devin more in preseason, but like I said, I think these two guys are going to really be, the motor, the second-hand motor along with Malik Neighbors. And the more weapons you have, the more spread out this offense can be. You don't have to be so reliant on Malik Neighbors to get you 3 catches for a first down. You could give the ball to Cam. You could give the ball to Tyron Tracy. You could give the ball, to anybody. I mean, even Russ still has some legs in the tank. I don't think he's going to be used much in RPO where he is getting the ball and he's running. I don't expect that too much. You're not getting prime Russ who could run like he did in Seattle, but having 2 running backs is huge for growth in this offense. And Cam Skattebo just brings vibes. I mean, this guy is electric. He's hitting heads with Dart. One day he had Dart's jersey on instead of his. He's fun, and I think he's going to be a fan favorite for the years to come. Really like the selection out of the 4th round. I didn't expect him to go Cam, but I mean, looking at it, it's been a solid start. Obviously, training camp, we got to see what he does in gameplay, but I've loved what I've seen out of Cam Skattebo. But let's talk about Jackson Dart. He's been a name to obviously look out in training camp. What type of Jackson Dart are we going to get? The first few days were a little shaky, and that's expected. You're not going to see a rookie that you traded up for technically just going to absolutely shine in his first days. That is not always the case. Sometimes things are going to be a little bit rough, and his first throw was an interception. That happens. Even some of the great quarterbacks in the NFL, their first days of camp aren't great. But, yesterday he responded. Very good day. Had a nice run today. He slid. Probably didn't have to slide because he was running out of bounds. But I do like what I see out of Jackson Dart. And, the big question is he going to start today? Is he going to start this season? Is he not? I really don't know because I don't know what is going to happen this year. You never know in the NFL. The Washington Commanders were the surprise team last year. Some are saying it's the New York Giants. Not many, but I have seen some people say that the Giants are a team under the radar because of the young vibes and the young talent that they brought in, like Abdul, Cam Skattebo, Russell Wilson. He's not young, but you get the point. Good players. They're bringing in better players. They're not expecting Eric Gray or, guys like that. And that's no shot at Eric Gray, but he was not very good for the Giants. Like I said, offensive line, defensive line. Offensive line won today. That's huge. And obviously I would love to see this defensive line be a top 5 unit or even be the best unit in football. That's obviously maybe a lot to ask, but on paper, they're a very solid unit. But seeing the offensive line win is huge today. Evan Neal looked good today. Are you serious? That's awesome. That is awesome to see that Evan Neal's look better at guard. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, but I think I said I wanted him to play guard. Just you look at the feet placement and how edge rushers beat Evan Neal. They always, is honestly, like they just have to run around him because his feet are not that quick. And when you're guard, you get a little bit of leeway. You got one guy to your right, one guy to your left. So you have some flexibility there, but in the one-on-ones, like no one else is helping. There's no double teams. He looked good today, and that's what I like to see out of Evan Neal. Also, if you guys are concerned about Andrew Thomas, he's expected to play in the opener against Washington. You gotta have him for Week 1 and throughout the season. You need him to play 16 games or a full season. You gotta get at the bare minimum at least 14. I'm not even saying 13. You got to get him for, over 50% of this season. If you even want to, try and, win games. But the big goal that I have this season is making actual development and progress. Right? And I know everyone's saying, oh, you said that last year. Oh, this and that. I think this is a team that actually can do that. Because you have a lot of positions that needed to be filled, and you filled them. Javon Holland, Abdul Carter, defensive line depth, cornerback, Paulson Adebo. You got Tyler Newman in his second year, Andrew Phillips, who was good last year. Hopefully Deonte Banks turns into a good CB2, maybe CB3. Obviously, we'd like to be trending towards a CB2 because of where you drafted him. But there's that. Talk about the defense now to wrap it up pretty much. We got, him to really wrap it up. And, of course, the big talk is Abdul Carter. Seeing him throw JMS was great, I have to say. And that's no disrespect to JMS. But Abdul Carter is an absolute freak of nature. This is what we wanted, right? We didn't decide to take Micah Parsons years ago. We took Kadarius Toney. That guy's retired now. He won his Super Bowls that he didn't even really contribute to. And now, he's gone. And the Giants are like, okay, we effed up big time. Not taking Micah Parsons, who is currently in a contract war or a disagreement because Jerry Jones doesn't want to pay the man. Why not? Why is it so difficult to pay Micah Parsons? All the other top names, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, all got their bag. Now it's really why are we waiting on Micah Parsons? The longer they wait, the potentially he might be out of the NFC East or he's joining a different team in the NFC East. If I do have to take a shot, it would be the Washington Commanders. I think I would sign Micah Parsons. Because of the Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, they work well together. And if he goes to Philly, then wrap it up, dude. You don't need to go to Philly. Alright, but let's stop talking about Cowboys. Abdul Carter, freak of nature. He's looked great. Won a ton of matchups. He's done well. Get it to the quarterback well. That's what you need. You need him to be a more solidified edge rusher and get into the quarterback. You need to build him up as an elite edge rusher. You could rush him inside too. Shane Bowen has all the cards, all the tools to make a good defense this year. He does. There's no excuse that the Giants can't be at least a top 12 defense, and I think it could be even better than that if all goes well. Obviously, I mentioned Cordell Flott and Deonte Banks look to rotate for CB2, first team reps, all of that. But, what are you going to do? Hopefully, whoever wins the job does their job, and we're not fighting for who is going to be, the real CB2, and you got to figure that out. I want Banks to be good, right? I want him to be good. I want this defense to be good. I don't want them getting thrown around and a running back just terrorizing them. I don't want that, right? But I think the defense is going to be very good. I love the vibes of the offense. Jackson Dart, Cam Skattebo. And listen, Giants fans, don't forget about Tyrone Tracy. I know the big talk has been Cam Skattebo, but don't forget about Tyrone Tracy. And hopefully, I pray that we get a decently good season out of our wide receivers outside of Malik Neighbors. I want Jalen Hyde to succeed, but it's like time is running out. I don't think they believe in him anymore. And, you can't just run deep routes and expect this guy to be your wide receiver 4. That is easily replaceable. But hopefully Jalen Hyde shows some sort of life with new quarterback play. Hopefully they can get him out there. But might just be a trade piece. Who knows? But anyways, guys, that is going to wrap up this training camp notes. The pads are on, baby. The pads are on. Training camp talk is back. And we're, of course, on the road to 400 subscribers. Tell your friends. Tell your family about these videos. Of course, I am Vin, host of the Inside the Boot podcast. We are definitely going to get some people on to get their thoughts on the Giants season and preseason. Of course, I definitely want to get some of you guys on. So don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of the platforms that we do post. But that's enough for me. Let's go Giants. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.